All right, we're getting ready to get started. Please silence your devices so we can have a good meeting. All right, so at 6 o'clock, I call this meeting of the Saginaw City Council to order. Please rise for the pledges.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Please be seated. Next item on the agenda is the invocation. I do not see a reverend here. Do I have anyone that is feeling so moved to do the invocation? Could be council, could be staff, could be audience, anybody. Don't all rush at once. All right, I can do it then. Please bow your heads. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us here today. Thank you for this fantastic weather in our home of Saginaw that we love so much. Please help us to do the best we can for our city and the future of our city and our children. Everything we do is in your name, and bless us all. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, sir.
All right, audience participation. If you wish to speak on any item that is on the agenda, please fill out a brief form over there by the police chief, and you can speak on any item that is on the published agenda. 2 is the consent agenda. A is action regarding minutes from March 3rd. B is action regarding advanced funding agreement for the Green Ribbon funding on system landscape maintenance through TxDOT. Questions, comments on the consent agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, Valerie. Brack, second. Please cast your vote. Motion passes. Let the record reflect we do have a quorum. Full house. Thanks for coming, folks. 3A is recognitions presentations. Gabe, what do we have?
Mayor and council have a special guest this evening and will be with us the next few weeks. I'd like to recognize Miss Leah Lakbao. She is participating in a exchange program. She hails from Zamboanga City, Philippines. She's a civil engineer by background. She will present to the city council at our next council meeting. So she'll get a chance to interact with all departments, and we look forward to seeing her presentation at our next meeting.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, Leah. Welcome. I'd also like to wish everyone a happy St. Patrick's Day for those who do observe. It is a fun day and beautiful weather. 3B is a presentation Alliance for Children's Services offered in partnership with Saginaw. We have folks from Alliance here. Y'all please introduce yourself. We're happy to have y'all here.
Hello, everybody. I'm Selena. I'm the MDT coordinator from Alliance for Children.
And I'm Lindsay Hughes. Nice to meet you. I've met you, Mr. Flippo, a few times, and Chief Ragsdale. Good to see you. I'm the Senior Accumulation Supervisor at Alliance for Children. So thank you for having us. We wanted to just have a few minutes of your time as we go into April, which is Child Abuse Prevention Month. So please wear blue as much as you can in April. And we are going to just talk to you a little bit about what we do at Alliance for Children. Typically, we come up here, we kind of do our little proclamation thing, and then we leave, but we wanted to do a bit more of an educational piece today. So Selena's going to start us off.
Yeah, and then we have a clicker. Okay, so our mission at Alliance for Children, or AFC, is to protect Tarrant County children from child abuse. And we do this through team investigations, healing services, and community education. Okay. We do have 3 centers. So we have a center in Arlington, Texas. That one has 2 campuses. So one of the buildings is for investigation, so investigators like law enforcement and CPS. And then the other building in Arlington is going to be our clinical center where our children receive therapy.
And that's those 2 top buildings right up there. So actually the one with the one on the right side, when you're looking at it, is our oldest building. That's where we started. It did start out as an investigative center, and we outgrew it really, really quickly. And then we started kind of building more buildings throughout the county. And so Selena can talk about those.
Yeah, we also have a center on the bottom left on the screen. That's our Northeast Center. That one is located in Hurst, Texas. And then we have our Fort Worth Center, which is, I want to say, our largest one. And the reason we have those 3 centers is to ensure that the family has easy access to us. So wherever the family, whichever center the family lives closest to, that's where they will be receiving services, or they'll come in for an interview or receive any therapy. A lot of times, if law enforcement is housed at one center, they will have to travel to the center where the family is receiving services. So we just want to help out the family and ensure that the center is the one closest to them. We also assist with lifts. If the family is unable to attend an interview or a therapy session, we are able to provide a lift or gas cards just to kind of level out the stress and, help out as much as we can.
The vision of our, forefathers, it was foremother, Nancy Hagan, was to serve our clients where they are. And Tarrant County is a really big county, so we always want to make sure that we're not creating another hardship for our families, and that they can come to us, they can access us, they can access our services, including counseling, which is usually weekly, without creating more barriers to them getting to us. So with Saginaw, we're kind of in the middle of the Fort Worth Center and Northeast Center. Typically, we give them a choice of if they want to try to beat the 820 traffic and all that roof snow craziness over there, or if they want to head down to the traffic circle, the Benbrook Traffic Circle, which is where the Fort Worth Center is located.
Next slide. Okay, so these teamed investigations, so of course we work with our law enforcement across Tarrant County, and we love working with Saginaw. They're very responsive. We also work with the Alliance for Children multidisciplinary staff, so we are coordinators. We work with our forensic interviewers, we work with our therapists and our family advocates. In order to make sure that a child receives the care that they need or a medical service that they need, we also work with Cook's Children's Medical Center, JPS Health Network, and Texas Health Resources. And then we also work with Tarrant County Criminal District Attorney's Office, and then the Juvenile Services Office for those juvenile suspects for our cases. Of course, we work with the Department of Family and Protective Services, and then our community, our kids, also named OCOK workers. Those are the workers that, those are foster care workers that take care of the kiddo while the CPS investigator is investigating the case. And the reason why we work as a team and why we have a teamed investigation is to minimize the trauma for the victims and families, so they can have a better outcome and they have more justice and safety. But overall, to avoid them making disclosures over and over again, and then ensure that they heal from whatever they went through. So that's why we do the teamed investigations.
Right. So the very first Child Advocacy Center started in Huntsville, Alabama, and it was actually a prosecutor at that time, many years ago, that noticed that this child was having to recount their statement over and over and over to law enforcement, to CPS, to medical staff, to the prosecutor, to do court prep. I believe the average amount of times that a child was having to repeat their disclosure was between 9 and 12 times. And you can imagine talking about the worst thing that has ever happened to you that many times would be incredibly re-traumatizing. So it's our goal to have them come to our center and be the place where they feel safe, and we are a child-friendly building. We've got a big boat that they can play in and a big helicopter in one center, and then what's in the other one?
A train.
A big train that they, like life-size train that they can play in. So we always want to make sure that we are very child-focused, very child-friendly. We are all trained in TBRI, which is trust-based relational intervention. So we're making sure that they are not overstimulated, that they have food, they have snacks, they're not hungry when they're trying to make a disclosure. So we're just a really safe hub for them to come to in order to make their statement, hopefully one time, maybe two, sometimes when they have to go to medical. because medical will ask just a few more different questions than what our forensic interviewers will ask. But it's really important to us that these kids are not having to repeat what has happened to them over and over and over. And we'll talk a little bit about forensic interviews in a second.
Next slide. So some of the cases that we investigate are cases that involve severe physical abuse, child fatalities, children who have witnessed a violent crime, whether it's from domestic violence or where a gun is involved, any sexual abuse or child sex and labor trafficking. Each of our coordinators is assigned to a specific workload. And then overall, any cases that fall into any of these categories or where law enforcement is involved, we coordinate on those. Next slide. So kind of what Lindsay was saying earlier, these forensic interview, the top picture, that is where the interview is being done. And in that room will be the interviewer and the child only. And then the bottom picture is where our law enforcement and CPS is observing the interview while it's happening in real time. And so these interviews are basically where a child makes a disclosure or if there's concern of abuse. And these forensic interviews are conducted in a supportive and non-leading manner by a trained professional. Our interviewers are experts and they know how to talk to kids. And like I mentioned before, they're observed by law enforcement and CPS. We do have a interviewer who is Spanish speaking. So if a child prefers to speak Spanish and they want to do the interview in Spanish, we're able to conduct the interview in Spanish. And in that case, the interpreter will be in the monitoring room interpreting in real time as the child is speaking and the forensic interviewer is speaking. If our Spanish interviewer is not available, the interpreter will be in the room with the child interviewing all the questions that the interviewer is asking.
Yes, we have a really robust Spanish-speaking program to help be culturally competent and best serve our clients, as we do have a lot of Spanish-speaking families that we serve. Selena is one of our wonderful interpreters. She will sit in a forensic interview with the kids and with the forensic interviewer, or like she was saying, she can sit in the monitoring room and interpret for law enforcement and CPS so that they can understand what's being said within the interview room. She'll also meet with families at times to help interpret if the caregivers are Spanish speaking, and it's just a really nice service that we can bring to our families to make them feel as comfortable as possible.
So our healing services, and these include our Family Advocate Program and Clinical Services Program. The Family Advocate Programs has a lot of different programs where they can assist with emergency needs for the family, or like I said, any lift or gas cards that the caregiver may need in order to bring the kiddo in. And then our Clinical Services Program provides different modalities that the children can receive. So one of our therapists specializes in play therapy. We also have EMDR therapy, and we have TFCBT, which is trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy. So depending on how severe the child has experienced their trauma, they'll accommodate and determine which modality they will use.
Right, and sorry.
Oh, you're good.
The most wonderful thing is that this is all at no cost to our families. They don't have to have Medicaid, they don't have to have insurance, we don't even care, we don't ask. It is completely free. Every service that we provide is free for our families. So our family advocates are assessing emergent needs of the family. While the child is in their forensic interview, the family advocate will be meeting with the caregiver and going through a checklist of needs and how can we support you? Do you need hygiene bags? Do you need assistance with the electric bill, because possibly the breadwinner is having to leave the home, and we want to make sure we're not setting them up for a situation where they're going to have to let the caregiver or the suspect back in the home. So we're trying to set them up for success in order to make sure that this child is supported, believed, and recantation is at a minimum. And then they're also assessing for kind of what is the best clinical therapy modality that's going to be the best for this family. And again, at no cost. And that is a huge thing that I'm proud of, that we can give these families these services for free. It's honestly because of cities like y'all that are part of our MOUs, sign on to us and put in that financial investment into us, as well as the donors and grants and some government funding as well through Victim of Crime Act.
So in 2025, 4,592 children were confirmed victims of child abuse, and our agency was luckily able to serve 2,291 clients as part of a child abuse investigation. So
I'm sorry, is that in Tarrant County?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I want to say we review about 30,000 CPS reports come in. I think that was just for 2025. So all of those reports that come in, we have a team that reads each intake, and they determine which one meets our protocol, which don't. So this is something that we're really proud of, that we're able to do.
Right, and our protocol is kind of what Selena was talking about before, the worst of the worst, right? So the sexual abuse cases, the homicide, the child fatalities, the severe physical abuse, those are the ones that we're working, those numbers up there. So you're right, we're very proud that we're able to serve those children and families, and it kind of breaks in your packets that I handed up, it breaks down the Saginaw numbers as well.
Okay, so another thing that we are able to do is provide education, and this education is to help our community prevent child abuse. These education trainings are provided to children, to professionals, to parents and caregivers. So for children, those type of trainings include like body safety, internet safety, just kind of finding ways to prevent any child abuse. And then for parents and caregivers, these trainings help them recognize any signs or symptoms of a child being abused. So, and they also educate them on how to report if they do suspect a child is being abused.
Right, and how to respond if a child makes a disclosure to you, because the natural kind of response is like, oh my God, right? But we don't really want to respond like that if a child discloses to us. We want to be very calm and understanding and say, I believe you, we'll get you help. So these trainings are really important for our community. We do go out into the communities, we go out into the schools, we go to churches, and we do train adults as well on how to handle disclosures.
And that is it.
There's a few other items in y'all's packets. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Vicki. She knows how to get a hold of me. But we really are appreciative of y'all's partnership. You're wonderful partners. Your law enforcement are truly one of our favorites. And they have been historically since back in the day that I worked with Crippen back in my CPS days. So it's been a long time, but we do appreciate y'all. We appreciate your support, and please reach out if you ever need anything.
Well, I was going to ask you before you move on quickly about how that interaction works, and maybe Chief Ragsdale could just give a quick how that would get involved and how that works.
So on a monthly basis, on the stats that I put out, you see the CPS referrals on there. So those are cases that actually start with CPS, then run through Alliance for Children. They read all those cases, they forward cases to us that have merit to it, that need to be investigated. And our folks work with them very closely. So when we have a child victim, they conduct the interviews, our folks are there present. Been working for a number of years. We've had them out on scenes with us on occasion. It's not real often we do that, but they do show up on scenes when we need them there, and it seems to work pretty well.
Right, so we'll get an intake or, for example, Detective Raven Sotelo, she has a case with us that we're working with her on right now. She's coming in on Thursday, so we can do case review with the DA's office. So we're gonna all sit down together and we're gonna review what's all been done, what needs to be done, make sure all our I's are dotted, T's are crossed, so she can file that the way, with the charges she wants to file it. From the jump, we receive statewide intake cases that are Saginaw jurisdiction. And like Selena was saying, we read them for our protocols. So we read them for the ones that match what we help with. So again, the criminal element, the worst of the worst ones. And the sergeant will reach out to us, or a detective will reach out to us and say, hey, do you know who CPS is on this case? So we'll find out for them, and then we'll set up the forensic interview for them, refer for the medical. So we're kind of trying to take the administrative stuff off their plate so they have the bandwidth to like meet with the family and do what they need to do, and we're making sure the family has the services they need. And we are the place that they come to make sure all this is happening. And then they're coming back to meet with the DA and make sure that everything is done that needs to be done to file it in the best way possible.
So are all of your clients referred to you by either the court system or CPS? In other words, could just an individual family that know they needed help on an individual basis, could they come to you, or would they have to be referred through the courts or CPS?
Good question. So to have a forensic interview, there has to be an investigation. Now, if somebody was just curious about like, hey, do y'all have some services you could recommend? We have a list of services we can always provide, but to come on site, there has to be an active investigation. And then I say active investigation, that doesn't mean an open investigation. We follow these kids for years sometimes, because we accompany them to court. Once their court or their case is going to trial, we go with them. A lot of cases, everybody in the kid's family is on the witness list, right? So they invoke the rule, and then none of them can be in the courtroom while they're testifying, so their side of the courtroom looks really lonely. So we'll try to load up their side of the courtroom with us, with supportive people that can, nod when the kid is testifying. Because those children, as much as we would love a forensic interview to take the place of their testimony, it doesn't, because the U.S. Constitution says everybody has a right to face their accuser. So these children do have to still testify, unfortunately.
Any other questions?
Well, thank you. And the reason this is important, just for council and for folks' reference, part of our budget goes to Alliance for Children every
Yes,
year.
sir.
We financially support them. So this is important to see where our money goes, where our taxpayers' dollars go. And we thank you for your fantastic work and your partnership with our police department. We really value that.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right, next we're on to 3C, which is work plan update. City Manager Gabe Rain. Welcome, Gabe.
Mayor and Council, you adopted the 2026 work plan back in February, so this is our first update. You recall, we agreed to touch base monthly, so we can all be aware of what's going on. So I'm going to run through these slides pretty quickly. We've had some good progress on some projects, and then of course some projects will be concluded toward the end of the calendar year. Happy to answer any questions you might have, and our staff here will help out as well. Our employee personnel manual update, we have identified a vendor to use a system. All of the directors reviewed this system. It's kind of a all-encompassing set of policies. So we'll pick through and find what's correct for us. At some point in the future, take the policies that we want to bring forward to you and send that to Bryn's office for legal review. So we're moving forward with the vendor. I think, what was the name?
It's called Air Mason.
Air Mason, and we have funds available to get that started. Like I say, all the department heads sat in a meeting. We were very impressed. And the next point, once we get the policies, would be we have an internal review, send it to Bryn's office, and then bring it to the council to review and approve. So we're already moving on that one and making good progress. Any questions? That's right. So they have a set of policies that it's cloud-based. So we basically come on as kind of a subscriber, and it was advantageous because in the future, should we, when we go through this, we can electronically have employees acknowledge the policies, and then each department can have carve-outs for policies that may be specific to them. So the biggest exceptions, notable exceptions, are police and fire. They have their own internal procedures. So yeah, we're very impressed. They are serving a number of Texas cities with positive reviews. Yeah. Bond communication, informational awareness. We're in that process right now. I want to remind everybody our first town hall for Proposition A, which is the street proposition that will go to voters, will be this Thursday at 6 p.m. We'll provide information. We have some graphics and be able to answer any questions that people might have.
Those meetings are posted, so all council members can attend, right?
Yes.
That's how that works?
Yep, and we're recording them, so we'll have a video to put on the website so that people who are unable to attend can view. So water bill inserts are going out right about now, within the next couple weeks.
Water bill inserts started going out the beginning of March and will continue to go out till the first cycle in May.
Okay. We have our bond website, which is live. We're working on kind of a bulk mail newsletter, which we've done every bond election, even before I came in the past. That's in the process of going out. We're also sending postcard reminder cards to notify folks that we have a bond election. What else am I missing?
The videos.
Yes, videos. Y'all have seen our first video. I want to mention that all of these documents, all of our materials that are produced are reviewed by attorneys to make sure that they comply. So the first informational video went out, was it last week or the week before?
I believe it was last week.
Yeah, and do you remember how many thousand views we had?
I'm trying to look it up now.
Yeah. So it's informational only, produced by staff, information about the projects. We'll come back. We may do a follow-up video based on FAQs or responses to, common questions that folks have.
We're at 12,000 views.
12,000 views, so it's really circulated. If you haven't had a chance to view it, it's about 5 minutes. It's pretty easy to digest and brief and
At
information.
the park opening we were just at, one of the citizens stopped me and said she loved that video. That she was fantastic and very informational, so it's it's getting out there.
Yeah, no, it's good to hear. And again, staff's role is to provide information, not to advocate, take a position. Voters can do as they feel led. And that's why everything we create is reviewed by bond counsel before it's distributed. So,
is there any plans to have a table or something, pass these out at the farmer's market that we have coming up? And then also, we have the hazardous waste drop-off, which usually generates a lot of traffic. If we can hand flyers out at that as well.
yeah, those are good ideas. I don't see a reason why.
Yeah, we
couldn't.
actually do have, I reached out to Community Link. We have a table at all farmers markets leading up to May. And that's a good suggestion on the hazardous waste.
Out of the one that we had the large amount of views, have we been reviewing the responses back? What's the view, general view of the responses?
Just give me 1 second. Let me look.
Yeah, I can address some of what I've seen. One was a comment that we use the average taxable assessed value for our projections, which is, and based on last year, because we don't have this year's number, that was about $253,000, $100,000 less for someone with a senior exemption. So I've seen comments like, well, my home is valued higher, or, neighbor down the street just sold for $350,000. We can only use our assessed value, which is not the same as what the market value. That's not what you're going to be taxed on. So I think that's an easy sort of misconception to address. The other one I've seen is why, and I think some council members have mentioned this because y'all have heard it, is why some of our industrial users can't pay or won't pay for the cost of replacement of the street. So the reality is they, as property taxpayers, they pay for all public improvements. So a good example, let's say the flour mills, when voters approved the library and senior center in 2021, do they get a direct benefit for a, library and senior center? Well, I don't know, but through their property tax rate, they're paying for it. So another project further on down, you'll recall we've talked about doing a street maintenance fee. So this is a way, potentially in the future, where we could look at special, kind of use-based fees. So these are all good questions, and I think what's important is the more questions we see, the more we know that that's more information we provide or answer. So, and I have mentioned this to you before. If y'all hear something common, let us know. I think our next video, we want to hit the same. I think that 5 minutes is probably like a good, nobody's going to watch a 30-minute video more than likely. We did do a, what do you call it?
So
Lee, yeah, go ahead.
So one of the goals this year was to launch a Saginaw podcast. Our first episode is about the bond. We were going to try to release it today, but we had the park opening, so we're going to try to shoot for tomorrow. That is unfortunately 30 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a podcast, so that's not like a video, but.
Could we put a table together maybe out there in some of this marketing that's in like $25,000 increments for home values on what it would be so when people, they can go to TAD and look up what their assessed value is and then see from there what it's going to affect it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty
We
reasonable.
put the link for TAD on there for them, so.
So it'd be nice to maybe, like you said, put together a video of most frequently asked questions.
That's right.
Is anybody from the city actually watching these and, the ones that should have a response actually find in those comments?
Yes, to the extent that the comments are not opinion-based, we provide fact, but yeah, the common, another one that's come up is a cost breakdown for the animal shelter. So y'all know the 15 million proposition, that's not construction value. That's site preparation, that's civil design, dirt work, access. Somebody asked, what is the actual construction component? These are all easy things, and like I say, the more of these common questions you hear, let us know. In that FAQ, we'll be sure to address it. This project is kind of a carryover from last year. I spoke with Maria, who's the project manager. We don't have any significant progress to report, although I believe they've had some discussions with the Parks Board, so we're moving forward. Yeah, probably within the next few months, we'll have some kind of reportable actions. Another project that since our, 3 weeks ago or whenever we adopted the work plan, really nothing significant, but it's something on the list and we're gonna keep at it. Believe our next meeting, we're gonna talk about this. So Susie will provide kind of a workshop, no decisions, about signage citywide. That would include not just like monument, gateway, welcome to Saginaw signs, but internal signs. I was out on the weekend at our parks, so some of the signs at our parks are probably 30 plus years old, and they have the old-ish logo, so these are things we need to look at when we talk about signage globally. That next meeting, we've got it. It'll be the most delightful 3 hours of your life. No, I'm just kidding. No, we need to have some discussions, hear your feedback. The goal, I might remind you of that, is to have some sort of standard form, a template, so that, anywhere in the city we have a commonality. So, and on signage, not related to this project, but we're still replacing our street signs citywide. And every time I see like a new pocket, they look really good.
So are we gonna replace the green signs that they put up on Knowles with the construction project to the new ones?
They ordered new, you talking the late sign?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are new ones coming. That's one of the things on the bunch list.
Okay.
You want to handle this one, Pedro? Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to compete against the 3-hour presentation workshop as well. But we're gonna have a workshop as well just to see, just to go over the 2016 one, which was adopted about 10 years ago, and see direction on council on how we're gonna proceed with the strategic plan.
I think some things that we could probably consider is looking at, as we approach build-out, what the city council might consider to incentivize. I think our neighbors in North Richland Hills do a really good job. They're probably a little more built out than we are as far as redevelopment is concerned. So they have policy that says, okay, when we have a project, here's what we'll consider incentive-wise, here's what we want to attract. They set up a redevelopment zone, so in a certain area that projects kind of get a priority and want to see things change and what was built 40 some years ago may not be practical now, or maybe vacant. North Richland Hills is much bigger, but they have some vacancy issues here and there. So it'd be
Also, as well as
good discussion.
targeted industries.
And targeted
what
industry,
kind.
yeah.
Like, I'm just gonna use as an example, but y'all know the Dallas Stars are looking. If y'all on council say, hey, Pedro, we want the Dallas Stars, and I'm like, okay, if the council, that's a targeted industry. I'm using that as an example, so don't get too excited.
Aim high, right?
We also want to complete the chicken sweep. I think we're down to maybe 2 chicken restaurants, so,
That, we have that as a poster.
might as well get
across
them
the-
all. Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
So it might be good to have, at least for me, because I'm fairly new to council and I've been involved for years, but there's some stuff I'm not privy to. So it might be good to have maybe 3 good examples of incentives that have worked in the past, and then maybe 3 that we could have done better.
Yeah, I can-
Yeah, that would be great. And then also the last adopted version, if we could get that sent to us too, so that we could review what it's gonna look like and kind of just see what's ahead of time. So we
Sure.
know what that's.
Just off the top of my head, I can answer you just in my 8 years here. So previous council incentivized a mill expansion at Miller Milling. That was before the most recent expansion. So I came and that completed maybe within my first year. That was 67 million of assessed value, and that's in perpetuity. That was a big deal. The second one was the square. So the city council incentivized a roadway that's now been constructed to connect Old Decatur to Saginaw Boulevard, and through an incentive, the city paid for half of that roadway. Was not required in the master thoroughfare plan, but by making that investment, we maximize the commercial viability plus improve connectivity for public safety. So, and we're on the square, the restaurant portion of that deal, which I believe was executed in 2019, they're building now at the Square Boulevard and Saginaw Boulevard. So we'll be doing a ribbon cutting here pretty soon. And then the third one, y'all are aware, but the redevelopment of the old fire station, we're like this close to kicking off. In fact, believe they're going to do grading next week or soon after. So those are the 3 that come to mind. And if you package them all together, our building improvement grant has been tremendously successful. So I would say, you do a lot of small things, and after a while you say, wow, that's quite a difference. So, yeah. Keep going. I mentioned this briefly before. Fort Worth has had discussions about a street maintenance fee. They hired a consultant, a third-party engineering firm to calculate a fee, which if the council wanted to move forward, we would need to do the same thing. The general idea is you have a fee based on impact to the overall street system, and that the money for that fee is set aside only for maintenance purposes. A person might say, well, why don't my taxes pay for street maintenance? They do. The challenge, as you all know, is we're limited with our tax rate. And the reality is our city and any city it's very difficult to keep up with street maintenance. Let's say at some point in the future, the city council reviewed a street maintenance fee and adopted one. We would probably use that money to hire a dedicated streets crew, which is something Corey Smith, Randy, they don't have available. And there's really no way we could potentially staff up to take care of these things absent another revenue source. So that's sort of the discussion. And again, we'll kind of get into it further. Fort Worth has already, I'm not clear, do you know if they adopted the fee? Okay, so their consultant presented to the city council. They're in same situation we are, street maintenance amplified by, 50 because much larger city. Yeah, so that's sort of the rationale and something we'll work through. This could be a way where, in theory, where someone says, well, why don't we, this was a common misconception. Someone said we need to charge roadway impact fees. We cannot charge roadway impact fees for a roadway that's already existing. This is something you do before a property's platted. So after the fact, we could say, maybe we have a residential fee and a commercial fee. Let's say a commercial center to the north has a much bigger impact on the street system than a residence. So of course the fee should be different. So these are all discussions we'll have in the future. Haven't made any progress on this, although this is in the works. Vicki and Jason have been working on some new classes and program offerings, so please encourage folks that to check out the rec center. Melanie's not here this evening because she was, they were doing interviews for our seasonal positions, and I heard we've got lifeguards down to 5 or 6. We've got a lot of returners. We've got, I believe, all our summer camp staff locked down customer service, so we're ready for busy season and day camp. Can I handle this one? Yeah, hotel recruitment.
I think this might be my last one, I'm not too sure. So the hotel market study, that's the feasibility study. All the hotels we have talked to, they keep asking for that. And that's a study that a third party has to conduct. So I'm in the process of, I have 1 quote, I need 2 more, and then we'll have a workshop. Maybe the same time I do the other workshop. And then, I'm trying to keep up with that timeline. But I would say every single one that we've talked to has said, I'm surprised Saginaw has not had a good hotel because we have Meacham real nearby. So I think we're crossing fingers.
And maybe the time is right. Yeah, it's a good timing.
I'm going to pitch this to Lee because I think there was a recent activity on this project, the cybersecurity. Yeah.
Yes, it's pretty simple. The cybersecurity risk assessment is complete, and we'll send that out to the council this week in the weekly report.
Do we want to have Greg come and present that at some point? Would that be valuable?
I'm sure he could do that.
I
yeah,
think that
anytime.
would be valuable to council. At some point, whenever it's convenient, so.
So Pat, it'll be a document in this coming up weekly?
Yes, sir.
Defer to Chief Spears on this, minimum property standards.
Yes, Council, as mentioned last time, this is an ongoing effort that's getting a lot of focus. There has been an inspection at all 3 of the hotel motel properties. Some common items that they found, recurring smoke detectors, just general upkeep and housekeeping. Those were all documented, and there'll be return visits to make sure those are kept up. But there wasn't any major violations found during these last inspections. But the focus will stay on.
That was all 3 of them?
Yes, sir.
And I don't think we've reviewed yet, although we will in the near future, but we mentioned this in the past, there's a statewide nuisance abatement program, so properties that contribute or can be proven to contribute to criminal activity can go through the, is it the Attorney General's office? And, could close a business. So we haven't started that yet. A couple of our hotels, the last time we reviewed this didn't meet the threshold. I don't know if defer to the police chief here.
Yeah, the thresholds fall into serious crimes, so mostly what we're finding is warrants and stolen vehicles. Those do not trigger nuisance abatement. Sexual offenses, your prostitution, things of that nature, drug dealing out of the hotels, if we can catch that, that falls under nuisance abatement as well. But most of the crimes that we're recording right now do not qualify under the nuisance abatement, so that's what we're reviewing to see if there's anything we can work with there.
I'm thinking that the reason we're not seeing that's probably because we are keeping a close eye and keeping inspected to keep where they don't easily fall out.
Yeah, I think code, it's been 2 or 3 years since this was a work plan project. Code keeps on them, and PD is pretty active. And
I mean, I've been pushing this, and I know that our code and our police spend a lot of time at those places. I wish they didn't have to, but you're right. I think that's part of the reason they're better, because we spend a lot of time. My thought is, can we just get rid of the issue so we don't have to spend so much time at there? That's what I'm concerned about. And that nuisance thing, we don't meet that yet, but I'd like us to certainly keep an eye on it.
this may be something to consider, as we talk about redevelopment. The council may consider, offering incentives to encourage a different use in the future. So the difficult reality for some of the hotels, especially that are older and paid for and sort of payments in cash, is, if you think of it, if you're the owner, it's quite profitable. You don't have a whole lot of maintenance in the building and a pretty steady cash stream. So that's been some of the difficulty in the past and way before me, that the owners are, they've got kind of a good thing. Strategic plan review, intend to, I'm trying to think when you all can tell me, but we're going to be talking about the budget here in the next few months. So maybe after that, maybe in the fall, late summer, we can go through the strategic plan. I don't think the major goals have probably changed a whole lot, but it's good to revisit. Councilmember St. Clair requested that, so look forward to reviewing that through a workshop. And we've had a lot of progress since when it was adopted, so excited to review.
I think it's good to review, because
Yeah.
when's the last time it was updated? It's not been, we've not looked at it since I've been on council.
Yeah, 2019.
I was gonna say 19 is what-
2020, yeah.
So it's time.
Yeah, that's when we started doing the work plan framework, was an offshoot of the strategic plan, which has been very helpful. So, yeah, that's all. Next month, same time, same place, we'll do an update. We'll probably have some more movement, and happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Gabe? All right, thanks, sir. Appreciate it. I want to quickly go back to 3A, recognitions, presentations. It's actually a question for council. We talked before about the May 5th council meeting. We're having a Cinco de Mayo celebration that same day, potentially canceling that meeting so we can attend that. What do y'all think? Everybody okay with that? And I talked to Vicki earlier today about this. We will have to canvass votes from the election on about the 12th, the next week. So anything urgent on that 5th meeting, we could bump it to the 12th. We'll already have to meet anyhow, and then have the 5th open for us to go to that celebration. Is everybody okay with that? All right, there we go, thumbs up. So thank y'all for indulging in that. All right, executive session, 4C, pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.087, discussion of real property. We will adjourn and return to adjourn from the council meeting. So Valerie, second. Please cast your votes. Motion passed at 7 o'clock. We're adjourned. Thank you all.